Today, police gathered in Fleming County to honor the life of a fallen officer.
A Fayette County judge says certain evidence against a man accused of murder can be used in his trial.
Now, scammers are hacking into our accounts online through our cell phones.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
This past week, the nation paid its respects to fallen officers at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Of the 252 names added to the memorial, 6 were from Kentucky.
Today, Kentucky State Police held a ceremony in Fleming County to honor and remember the life of one of those 6, Trooper Anson Blake Tribby. WKYT's Monique Blair has more from Fleming County in our top story at 5:30.
On this chilly mid-May morning on a hillside in Fleming County, friends, family, and about a dozen state troopers took time out of their day to remember 25-year-old Trooper Anson Blake Tribby. Trooper Tribby died in January of 2013. He was off duty when the pickup truck he was driving collided into a flatbed wrecker on I-64 in Clark County. He was trying to call in a vehicle fire moments before the accident.
Just important to come out annually. You know, obviously, the majority of the people here, we all know Blake. We were affected and touched by Blake. For
Master Trooper Joe Veneman, this annual tribute is always tough. He worked with Trooper Tribby out of the Moorhead Post.
It gets emotional at times. Obviously, anytime that you remember Blake, for those that knew him, Blake had an infectious smile, was just an absolute great person to be around.
Trooper Tribby's wife, Rebecca, shared a few words at today's memorial.
A luminous light remains where a beautiful soul is passed. And I just was in a store and saw it up one day and just thought that describes Blake. He just had such a lasting impression on so many of our lives. The fact that he gave his life to help someone else, that means so much. And I expected him to stop and help that night when I saw the wreck, and I'm thankful he did, because just shows the type of man he was.
A tribute to Tribby. Even his dog showed up to pay respects.
He was always my hero, but now everyone can see that too.
In Fleming County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
And Trooper Tribby served 2.5 years with state police. Kentucky State Police conduct annual tributes throughout the Commonwealth for fallen state troopers.
Tomorrow, people in Madison County will hold another tribute for a police officer killed in the line of duty. A section of US 25 will be renamed the Officer Ellis Memorial Highway. Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis died after he was shot in the line of duty last November. A sign with the new highway name will be unveiled during a ceremony at the Richmond Police Department tomorrow afternoon.
With less than 3 weeks before his murder trial is set to begin, a legal setback today for a man accused of killing a UK employee.
Mark Taylor is charged with murder and kidnapping in the 2013 death of Alex Johnson. As WKYT's Hillary Thornton reports, a judge has ruled against his request to have some evidence tossed out of the trial.
Mark Taylor was inside of the circuit courtroom today, the judge ruling against his attorney's request to have some evidence thrown out just weeks before his scheduled trial.
His charges include murder and kidnapping, accused of killing University of Kentucky chef Alex Johnson. Investigators say Taylor and Timothy Ballard lured Johnson into their car, beating him to death before dumping his body. Johnson was missing for about a month before police found his body stuffed in a barrel in the Kentucky River. After being charged with the crime, Taylor was eventually captured in Texas, where prosecutors say they believe he was planning to cross the border to Mexico. The hearing on Wednesday over the claim by Taylor's attorneys that a gun, money, and marijuana found with Taylor there in Texas should be dismissed as evidence. His attorneys saying there's no way to link those things to the crimes he's accused of in Kentucky and is instead being used to prove a point about Taylor's character. Prosecutors arguing that they are not required to prove that that particular money and marijuana was taken from Johnson, but instead saying it is evidence because they believe it's related to the motive. Going on to explain, Taylor's co-defendant Timothy Ballard, who has taken a plea agreement, will testify that after Johnson was killed, they returned to his residence to take money and drugs. Ultimately, the judge deciding the evidence stays in.
Direct evidence of and operative facts within the case. It's inextricably intertwined. Evidentiary value outweighs any prejudicial effect.
When asked about the possibility of a plea agreement, Taylor's attorneys said they could not talk about that, but then went on to say that they are fully preparing for trial. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Prosecutors also say a book on how to cross the border was found with Taylor. His attorneys say they have no knowledge of that. The judge also ruled that piece of evidence can stay as well.
Police at the University of Kentucky have issued a crime bulletin for students who use mopeds. Police say that 9 mopeds have been stolen from campus since late April. The latest was stolen on Monday, prompting police to send out the campus crime alert. One UK student we talked to had some simple advice for people on campus.
Just lock your stuff up, be smart, be safe. Simple as that.
So far, police have only recovered one of the stolen mopeds. Investigators say they do not yet have a description of a suspect.
A woman is facing several charges after police say she drove more than 100 miles an hour and threatened to kill a Kentucky State Trooper. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Anderson County. Police say 39-year-old Joyce Bailey was 3 times the legal limit when she was stopped by an officer for going 107 miles an hour on US 127 Sunday night. Police say Bailey told a trooper she would, quote, have her father rip out the officer's heart and feed it to the hogs. Bailey was arraigned Monday in Anderson District Court on charges including DUI, resisting arrest, speeding, and terroristic threatening. In Whitley County, a theft investigation ended in a police chase in the Canadatown area. Deputies say 29-year-old Johnny Mullis was spotted on a motorcycle matching the description of one stolen from a home in Corbin. When deputies tried to stop Mullis, they say he took off through a nearby yard before getting off the motorcycle and running off. Mullis was quickly caught. Deputies say they found a gun and drugs on him. Mullis is charged with evading, arrest, theft, and carrying a deadly weapon.
The rain finally looks to be heading out of the bluegrass, but that won't last long. Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Sam. At least it is mainly dry out there for now, and you get one really good day coming up for the day tomorrow. Parts of the area seeing some sunshine. Though it isn't full sun, it's a peak or two. Frankfort, Lexington, I'm looking in your direction. Temperature 60 to 65 degrees, still running way below normal. Hey, it's downright chilly. Jackson and London, 55 degrees. Look at the low clouds there in the distance showing up on that Jackson cam. The part of the state yesterday that had much warmer air, only in the 50s, warmer to the north, and we've just flip-flopped everything. 10 degrees warmer now than 24 hours ago. Lexington, 15 degrees colder in Middlesboro, with Harlan raising that 1 degree. It's 16 degrees colder. Defender radar network, no precipitation on it, though we're noticing some of those breaks getting into parts of southern Kentucky. So anyone fair game for a ray of sunshine before the sun sets. Then the readings drop into the low 50s by 11 o'clock or so. Thursday continues to look great, but the rain not too far behind. Guys, we'll time that in for the weekend when I come back in less than 10.
Governor Bevin's choice to replace a state pension board chairman has now declined the appointment. William Smith, a dermatologist from Madisonville, informed the governor in a letter that after careful consideration, he decided to respectfully decline the appointment. The governor issued an executive order last month removing Thomas K. Elliott from the board. The Kentucky Attorney General's office stated this week that the governor isn't allowed to remove a board member whose term hasn't expired, adding Smith didn't qualify as an investment or financial professional as the law requires.
We often think of identity theft as a computer crime, scammers hacking into our accounts online. But a little-known vulnerability is being used to empty consumers' bank accounts using nothing more than a telephone. When Christy Reisig could not get cash out of the ATM, she called her bank to ask why.
And so they said, well, you have to answer these 3 security questions. So I failed all 3 security questions.
The questions had been changed and her account taken over using a kind of phone hacking. A con artist posing as Reisig was able to answer a Chase operator's questions about the school she went to, her license plate number, even the bank she had a loan from. And that gave the scammers the ability to steal $2,800 by writing checks from her account.
They made fake checks.
That's correct.
With your account numbers.
Right.
Reisig doesn't know how the con artist got her personal information, but a security expert says criminals can buy it from hackers who've breached the databases of major retailers, financial institutions, even local businesses and schools.
It's really a question of when, not if anymore, that each of us is going to suffer a form or multiple forms of identity theft.
Levin says to protect yourself, always use long and strong online passwords and pick security questions you haven't shared on social media. The schools you went to or your mom's maiden name could be right on Facebook. In a statement, Chase noted customers are not liable for fraudulent transactions that they report to us in a timely fashion. It took a couple of weeks, but Reisig did get her money back.
This has been a full-time job.
She's also disabled telephone banking, though Chase concedes another crook with the right information could turn it back on. Now, these numbers are staggering. How serious do you think identity fraud is? In the last 6 years, thieves stole $112 billion. That's $35,600 stolen per minute.
More than 600 dog and handler teams are in Lexington this week for one of the longest-running herding competitions in the country. That story in about 6 minutes here on WKYT.
I'm Bill Bryant. We now know how many delegates Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders get from Kentucky after the primaries ended in a near tie. And some other races are set around the Commonwealth. The bottom line is on the way.
And ahead on WKYT News at 6, how a company came to the rescue of one Lexington preschool.
Visit our fireplace showroom or shop online at barnhillchimney.com.
All right, come on, everybody. It's time to go.
Getting more for your money is simpler than you might think. When you shop at Kroger, you get low prices throughout the store, weekly specials, great value from our quality brands, digital coupons, and even fuel points to help you save at the pump. No spin, just savings.
Treat your family to sweet red cherries for just $2.99 a pound and boneless pork chops for $2.88 a pound. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
If you've been injured in an accident, hurt on the job, or the victim of medical malpractice, visit forthepeople.com. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Here's a fun way to control your luck. It's a game called Keno. You can start with $1. You pick your numbers, your odds, and your wager. And the winnings, well, they could be major. Just pick your numbers and hope you win. A few minutes later, you can play it again. Now play Keno wherever Kentucky lottery games are sold.
I'm Philip Weisenberger. My family has been milling grains from Kentucky farmers since 1865. Through 6 generations, we've learned that quality takes hard work. When you buy Kentucky Proud, you help keep our traditions alive. Look for Weisenberger Mills and other Kentucky Proud products available every day at Kroger.
Right now at Kroger, Weisenberger Biscuit Mix is 10 for $10. And pick up Kroger Sour Cream or dips and get 10 for $10. Fresh food, low prices at Kroger.
You're a problem solver. Oh yeah, you love solutions. You tackle what matters and sack the rest. It's how you stay in your mom game. I get it. And it's how you fuel hungry kids. Stock the fridge with Lando Frost premium lunch meat. Taste keeps them happy, protein keeps them full. That is a win-win. And a win-win is Mommy Gold. Lando Frost, solving family lunch problems since 1958.
A season pass to Kentucky Kingdom is only $59.95. And with benefits like free parking and dollar drinks, a season pass pays for itself in just one visit. And enjoy the rest of the summer for free. Stop by your local Kroger store to get yours today. But hurry, offer ends soon.
Pick up fresh avocados or mangoes and get 10 for $10. And Heritage Farm chicken drumsticks or thighs are 88 cents a pound. Fresh food, low prices at Kroger.
As America's longest-lasting pickups, Ram's continued leadership is eye-opening. Like Ram 3500 with the best towing and the best torque. And Ram 1500 with the best fuel economy. It's no wonder more people are driving Ram trucks than ever before. Join us now during the Ram Memorial Day sales event. Returning FCA lessees finance and get $10,500 in total values on the purchase of a 2016 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab.
Get WKYT News and Weather Update on Wild 1039.
It was a narrow victory, but Hillary Clinton did beat Bernie Sanders in yesterday's Kentucky primary.
And a new bill drafted by a Kentucky congressman is getting a veto threat from the White House. Bill Bryant has the details in today's Bottom Line.
Good evening. After all the campaign visits, the TV commercials, and social media buzz, Hillary Clinton came away with a very narrow win in Kentucky's Democratic presidential primary. After the vote lead seesawed throughout the night, the Clinton campaign claimed victory early this morning. Clinton's margin over Bernie Sanders is around 2,000 votes out of nearly 450,000 votes cast. Clinton and Sanders will get 27 delegates each from Kentucky. 1 delegate will go to the convention uncommitted because about 24,000 Democrats chose that option. And Clinton has the support of the state's 5 superdelegates at this point. Current estimates are that Clinton is just 92 delegates away from clinching the Democratic nomination, but Sanders, who won the contest in Oregon Tuesday, is vowing to fight on. Kentucky may see an aggressive U.S. Senate race this fall. First-term GOP Senator Rand Paul easily won the Republican nomination and says he will run on his record in Washington. But Lexington Mayor Jim Gray had no problem standing out in a crowded field of Democrats. In his victory speech, Gray strongly criticized Paul's performance, calling him distracted from Kentucky's problems by his ambitions to be president. Paul dropped his run for the White House before the first primary. Kentucky has not had a Democratic U.S. Senator since Wendell Ford's retirement in 1998. Kentucky's longest-serving Congressman Hal Rogers has drafted a bill to fight Zika that President Obama says he will veto because it is inadequate. The president requested $1.9 billion to deal with the Zika epidemic. The Rogers proposal is for about a third of that, $622 million, and it's headed for a House vote. A Senate proposal also is less than the president's request. Democratic State Representative Rita Smart of Richmond will face a rematch with Republican businessman Wesley Morgan, who won his primary. That will be one of the contested legislative races around Kentucky as the two parties battle for control of the State House this fall. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Lexington will play host to hundreds of competitors from across the country this week for the 2016 Bluegrass Classic Stock Dog Trial. This year's competition will be held through Sunday at Masterson Station Park and is one of the longest running herding trials in the country. More than 600 dog and handler teams are expected to participate this year.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Even on a better weather day, it's still kind of ugly out there across the Bluegrass State, but I'll take this and run with it compared to where we started the day and where we've been over the past few days. Live look in Lexington. Yeah, the holes in the clouds we had a little bit ago, they're still there, but we're seeing more in the way of clouds than the holes in the clouds. 63 degrees. Humidity's up there 60%. No wonder we've got a soaked ground. Winds are coming at us from the northeast. That's a chilly wind that is blowing. Temperatures today continue to run much, much colder than normal. 63 Lexington, highest we've been in the past 5 days. That's a shame. 55 into Jackson, London, 54 Harlan. Yesterday you were warmer in southern Kentucky. Today you're noticeably cooler, more overcast down here than what we're talking about to our north and northwest. Thursday, 3-day threat track, really, really good. Friday, really, really bad. As nice as tomorrow is, Friday's going to be just the opposite of that, especially into the afternoon and evening with rain and thunderstorms moving in, heavy rain at times. Saturday, first half of the day with rain. Second half of the day, we may see a break or two in the overcast, but still the threat for a shower will carry us into Saturday afternoon and evening. Here is our storm system, and here comes the rain as we go into Friday afternoon and evening, especially by 4 or 5 o'clock as we're getting off work, or as you are getting off work. I'll be right here in front of your on your TV with you. But that low pressure center is going to be scooting out of Tennessee right on top of Kentucky into Friday night and Saturday morning. That's going to bring a big surge of moisture with it. It's a storm system that kind of has a late winter or early springtime look. What does that mean for Kentucky? Rounds of some heavy rain, a little thunder, a little lightning maybe, and another inch or two of water into central and eastern Kentucky as temperatures continue to run on the cool side during that time. The latest computer model spitting out anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain Friday into Saturday. That little corridor is likely overdone, but I could see this generally putting down a good inch plus of rain into much of central and eastern Kentucky, you know, because your grass really needs it at this point, right? 73 tomorrow. You get one day tomorrow of dry weather, then the rain comes back in. Hey, hang tough. Sunday looks better, 75. I think we hit the low 80s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. It's by the middle and end of next week. The pattern could throw some thunderstorms at us, but those thunderstorms, instead of cooling us down, may actually unleash some really warm air for Memorial Day weekend.
But 80s, now that's something we haven't talked about in a while,
It's
right?
been since we had an 80 here or there early in the month. Nothing to really write about. The past 5 days just completely annihilated those 80s.
Yeah, all right.
It's been ugly.
Hang on.
Yep, hang tough.
Thanks, Chris.
You bet.
5 look at Lexington rush hour traffic. We still have the crash at New Circle and Bryan Station. Police are working near the intersection. Now, we have cleared the one at 4th and Henry, so 4th and Henry Street back open this afternoon. Drive times for now, outbound to Nicholasville, 12 to 15 minutes, and we're still holding our own across the Quays Ferry Bridge to Madison County and into Georgetown on 75. We're doing okay. Now back to you in the studio.
Once again, Exaggerator will challenge Nyquist.
Yes, will this be the race where he can finally beat him? The field is now set for the Preakness, and Kentucky has a 4-star player decommit. He had been on board with the Cats since last summer. That's next in sports.
No one knows what's gotten into the heads of our leaders.
Anarchy, democracy.
But this summer,
You think we can save the country? We can try.
one epic television event
My husband, Randall, he's not who he was. People are staring at us.
will give you a clue.
Bugs are eating people's brains.
What? From the creators of The Good Wife comes a political thriller with a twist.
Something weird is going on.
Brain Dead premieres Monday, June 13th.
Do you want to lose weight quickly and safely? Do you want to be healthy for a lifetime? Kim did and lost 238 pounds at Ageless Medical Weight Loss. Betty did and lost 135 pounds. The Ageless program is a medically supervised, affordable weight loss solution. Call today for a free consultation.
With a full tank of freedom, find your own highway. We'll take you wherever you go. Take you wherever you go.
I don't want to live with the uncertainties of Hep C.
Or wonder whether I should seek treatment. I am ready.
Because today, there's Harvoni, a revolutionary treatment for the most common type of chronic hepatitis C. Harvoni is proven to cure up to 99% of patients who've had no prior treatment. It transformed treatment as the first cure that's one pill once a day for 12 weeks. Certain patients can be cured with just 8 weeks of Harvoni. Harvoni is a simple treatment regimen that's been prescribed to more than 250,000 patients. Tell your doctor if you've had a liver transplant, other liver or kidney problems, HIV, or any other medical conditions, and about all the medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Harvoni may cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects of Harvoni may include tiredness, headache, and weakness. I am ready to put Hep C behind me.
I am ready to be cured.
Are you ready? Ask your Hep C specialist if Harvoni is right for you.
Get in on the fun with the Lexington Legends in June. Don't miss your chance to see the World Series trophy. And kids, be sure to catch Curious George when he stops by Whitaker Bank Ballpark. Check out LexingtonLegends.com for all the details.
If your home or business has suffered damages due to storms, fire, water, or theft, we have an experienced team that can help you with your insurance claim. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Ask yourself, do you use artificial tears often? Have you been screened for a type of chronic dry eye disease?
Artificial tears give temporary relief, but only Restasis cyclosporin ophthalmic emulsion helps your eyes make tears. With continued use, 1 drop in each eye twice a day, every day, Restasis helps increase your eye's natural ability to produce tears, which may be reduced by inflammation due to chronic dry eye. Restasis did not increase tear production in patients using anti-inflammatory eye drops or tear duct plugs. To help avoid eye injury and contamination, do not touch the vial tip to your eye or other surfaces. Contact lenses should not be worn within 15 minutes of using Restasis. The most common side effect is a temporary burning sensation.
Be your own advocate. Call your eye doctor to get screened and ask about Restasis.
Have something that needs investigating? Email us or call the WKYT Investigates tip line.
Charles Matthews, the 6'6" guard out of Chicago, is transferring from Kentucky. UK making the announcement this morning, saying the freshman had been given his full release. Matthews played in all 36 games last season, starting 3. He averaged nearly 2 points and 2 rebounds a game for John Calipari's team. Now, Matthews' announcement comes amidst all the speculation as to where Texas big man Marquise Bolden will land. Bolden, the top unsigned prospect in the country, is set to announce his college choice at 2:30 tomorrow. The 6'10" Bolden is rated a 5-star center. He is said to have it down to Duke and Kentucky. A decommitment for UK football. Defensive end James Hudson out of Toledo, Ohio, says he is reopening his recruiting. Hudson is a four-star player. He goes 6'5", 280. He's number 51 here. He committed to the Cats last summer. Since then, he has drawn some considerable interest, including an offer from Alabama. Hudson said on Twitter he will keep UK high on his list, but he wants to enjoy the recruiting process. The field is set for the Preakness and Derby winner. Nyquist is the 3-5 favorite. He will break from post 3. Once again, Nyquist will be challenged by Exaggerator, who's at 3-1. And although his horse has never beaten Nyquist, trainer Keith DeSormo is optimistic about Saturday. Exaggerator is more heavily raced, and with a short turnaround from the Derby to the Preakness, he's hopeful his conditioning will pay off. DeSormo is definitely enjoying training top-level thoroughbreds rather than top-level athletes.
When they take you to that highest level, it's not like a football player that comes from the B leagues and makes the pros, and after 1 year he's asking for a multi-million-dollar contract. We're in the pros with Exaggerator. He's won at the top level, and he's not asking for any more feed, any more money, any more attention, shinier shoes. There's nothing. He's still the same Exaggerator, and we're just trying to keep him in the peak health.
All right, the Legends at home today playing the Hickory Crawdads. No score first inning. Bases loaded for Amalani Fuka, who drills a single into right, 2-run score, and Lexington goes up 2-0. Move on to the 8th inning. Legends lead 3-2. Chase Vallow, who had doubled earlier in the game, sends a drive towards New Circle Road. Colossal moonshot to left center, his 7th home run of the year. And the Legends go on to win it 4-2. They are now 16-23 on the season. We will look at the Preakness field in the next half hour. Stay with us. We're back after the break.